Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Okay, how are you, Sumaya?
الحمد لله.
How are you?
الحمد لله.
Your voice is too low.
Uh, okay. 1 minute. I opened the photos in Paint app
Okay,
and practice.
okay. So tell me what the steps we do while we are starting the first lesson.
The first lesson, we took the sounds of the letters.
Then
We said Aleph and Hamza has no sound. And
tell me all points, okay, from the
okay,
beginning.
from the beginning, the first thing is we took the shapes of the letters. That Aleph is like a stick, and Ba have 1 point, one dot under it.
Okay, so first of all, you missed one thing, and that is I told you whenever we start the first lesson or every lesson, first of all, we give some overview about the brief information about that lesson. And because we are on the lesson number one, so that's why we have to give some information about the Qaida and the Quran and the Arabic language and these letters, alphabets, and then we start, right?
Right. I will ask the parents if his son want to take just Quran or Qaida, and I'll
Hmm.
test him in
Yes,
reading if
yes.
he can
Okay,
read.
yes. Then when we started the Qaida, so then we give some information about that, and then we start and tell this is Aleph, and Aleph has look like a straight line. Then we have Ba, and okay, one by one we will tell our student, and then uh, keep continuously asking the question as well. Okay, for example, if you are on the Ta, so tell me about the ta, the name of the ta, the identification of ta, and the dots of ta, and then go for the backward. Okay, don't still going after
Okay.
and after. Just wait for a while and then ask some questions about your previous letter which you taught, and then go for the next. So if you do that, so then you can know that is your student are understanding or not. The previous letter is they remember or not.
Yes.
So
Uh,
after, yes,
should I care for teaching them right or just reading?
yeah, you can. If you want to write anything else, so you have an option here, and you can write anything here like that. If you can want to thickness, so you can do that like that. Okay, if you want to do some colors, so you can
This,
do.
uh, I mean, the student should know to reading and writing.
The student will always reading with you, but if you want to teach like this way, you want to
Mm.
write, so you can. Okay, after that, this is our one round. As I told you, the first of all we just say the letters name and their identification.
Okay.
See, on the first round we will give letters name. You can also write like I am writing. Okay,
Okay.
so letters name, this is our first. Then in a simultaneously you can tell your student letters identifications. Okay,
Okay.
then you can tell him, tell your student about the letters.
Identification like alif, ba.
No,
No?
identification like how it will look like. For
Oh,
example, the bar is
yes.
look like a flat with the two edges on the side. Okay,
Okay.
the scene having a three edges on the top, the sheen having a also three dots, three edges. So this is the identification. The dal is look like a more curve. The ain is look like a inverse of digit 3, or you can give any type of example which you uh, think that this is the easiest way to teach. So you can in the third point we give the letters dots. Okay, we tell our student that either the letter has a dot or not, and if it has a dot, so how many dots and where it will appear on the top of the letter or in the bottom of the letter. Okay, so you can discuss these points. So these 3 points we will teach simultaneously. Okay,
Okay.
from Alif to Ya, and then we will start the second round. In the second round we will teach our students letters, sounds. Okay,
Sounds.
before you start
Okay.
this you can tell your student that now we will start the sounds of the letters, and we will know about the letter sound because it is very helpful for us while we are reading. Okay, so this is your second round. So in the second round you will again start from Alif, and you can tell your students the sounds of the letters, and you start from Alif and tell the Alif has no sound, and then you go for the Ba, and you tell every sound of the letter like B, T, Sa, and so on. After
Okay.
that, uh, now this is our third round. In this round, we will tell our students that some letters we have which we will call bold letters, and some letters we have which we will call
Light.
light letters. Okay,
Okay.
so as I told you that you can say your student that all the green letters are the bold letters, and then you say your student
Mm.
to read all the
Raw
green letters and raw has a
with
condition, so
conditions.
on. Okay, I'm not repeating again. So these are the 3 rounds. When you finish your all your 3 rounds, then you can ask questions to know either your student understand all the things or not. If you think yes your student is understood all the parts, all the rounds and all the points, so then you can go for the next.
Okay.
So next, as I told you, the next is your test lesson, and this lesson the student will tell you each and everything which you taught on your previous lesson, and after that you can go for the next. And here we have lesson number 2, which is about half shape. And as I told you, when you start this lesson, so first of all you do the same thing as you do in your first lesson, means you give your student the brief introduction of your lesson number 2. What is the introduction is, you tell your student that in this lesson we will learn about the half shape of the letter, and you can give the reason why we are reading, why we are learning the half shape of the letters. Because in the Quran we have our letters which attach or which are the joining togethers. Okay, so while we want to letter which will be joined with the another any letter, so we will always take the half shape of the letter. Okay, in English all the words in the word all the letters will be written separately, right? But in the Arabic language the words will be joined together, or it will always look like a half shape. Why, whenever we want to connect two letters or more than two letters each other, so it will always the half shape of the letter, right?
Right.
So that is the reason we are learning how does half shape of the letter look like. So when we see these half shapes in the Quran, so we can read easily. So here you can just ask your student that tell me which letter is that, and because you already taught this letter before, so he will tell you or she will tell you very easily. And then you can just point out the bottom of that letter and you can ask, now tell me what is the bottom of ba. So I am sure your student will tell you that is also ba. Why? Because you already taught him that whenever you see the one dot in the bottom of any letter, so you can call it the ba. So because here also there is also the one dot in the bottom, so that's why he will or she will recite this letter ba. And now you just tell him that this is the half shape of ba, means whenever the letter ba comes in the half shape, so it will look like that. And same as it is, you can go further like this letter. First of all, you ask this full shape of the letter, and when he told you, then you go for the bottom of that letter and you can tell your student that this is the half shape of the letter, and then go for the next. For example, when you are on the gym, so you can ask your student, tell me what is the name of this letter. So he will tell you this letter name is gym. And then you can ask where the dot will appear. So the dot of gym always appears in the middle. But
Middle.
when we talk about the half shape of gym, so the dot always in the bottom. So this is the differentiate between the full shape of gym and the half shape of gym. So this differentiate you have to memorize your student. Then you go for the next and next and next and so on. Okay, you can emphasize that your student that see we have three letters which are look like same, but how can we identify? Just for the dot, from dot. Okay, so if your student know that if we have that kind of shape and if it has a one dot in the bottom, so it will must gym. And if there is a zero dot, so it will ha. And if there is a one dot on the top, so then we will call it ha. Okay, so this is the way how can we teach lesson number 2. Okay, you can ask the full shape of the letter and then you can tell him about the half shape and you can go on. In this lesson, one more thing what we do, and that is uh, as we know that's mostly our uh, illiterate people who do not know about the Arabic language are mostly confused in such letters like differentiate between tha and sheen, because both has a three dots, so always the kids are confused which one is tha and which one is sheen, and the differentiate between ta and ya, because mostly students forget that ta has the two dots on the top or in the bottom, and ya has a dots in the top or in the bottom, so it will confuse on those letters. And the half shape of lam and the full shape of alif, mostly students are confused in these two letters. And the half shape of noon and the full shape of za, these are those letters which are look like very similar, right?
Right.
So you can force your student to memorize this kind of letters which are similar to each other. So after that, when you think yes your student are well know about the letters half shape and the full shape, then you can start the exercise. From here every lesson has a exercise which student will tell you. Okay, don't help your student to read the exercise. Okay, just give some tips which you gave on your lesson. Just you can give him that kind of tips to read this exercise, but don't help your students to read every letter. Okay, so here you just point it out and you can ask your student, tell me what's the letter name is. So they should tell you. If they forgot, so then you can go for the full shape and you can show and you can highlight, and then you can ask, tell me what the letter name is. So I'm sure he will tell you by looking the full shape. So you can just say this is the half shape of the same letter, and then you can go for the next and you can ask every letter one by one. Okay.
Okay.
So when you finished your all letters and your student will find every letter correctly, then you go for the next lesson. So now we are going for the next lesson. Here we have a next lesson which is about again the half shape, but here we have something new, which is beginning,
Middle
middle,
and
end. Okay, what's that mean? That meaning is whenever the letter will comes in the beginning of any word, so it will look like that. When the letter comes in the middle of any word, so it will look like that. When any letter comes in the ending of any word, so it will look like that. So this kind of stuff you have to understand. You have to teach your students one by one. Okay, you can tell your student, you can just ask which letter is that, and maybe he will tell you, because he know if there is a two dots on the top, so it will the ta. But you can just tell and show these letters, and you can tell him whenever the ta comes in the beginning of any word, so it will look like this. And when the ta comes in the middle of any word, so it will look like that. And there we have a one line which is connected to this letter. And why that line is, because this is just the example. When we are in the Quran, so here we have one another letter which is connected. So whenever any letter connected with ta, so it will look like that. Okay, so here we have, see, this ta, you can tell we have two shapes of the ta. One is this one, and second one is this one. So you can tell him in this stage, there's this ta we will call round ta. In Arabic we will call it tai marbuta, right?
right.
But in English we will tell our students that this is we will call round ta. Okay, and the
Okay.
round and how will we read that, and when we do waqf there, so how can we change that? This kind of stuff we don't discuss in this stage. We just tell him same as it is what we did in the condition of raw. Remember, we just tell our student that raw has a condition, and that condition we will discuss later, not now. Similarly, we will say this kind of shape we will call round ta. That's it. We don't discuss anymore. Okay.
Okay.
And also we have some letters which whenever those letter comes in the beginning of any word, so that letter will not connected. Okay, do you know what's that mean?
Then
See, some
in
letters we have
the beginning.
whenever they comes in the beginning of any word, so it will always written there separately. They do not connect it with the next letter anytime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so first is dal. Do you tell me the other letters which never connected after any
The
letter?
zal,
Yes, and
ra,
mm,
ra,
and
zay. Mm,
za and
mm. Well.
very good. And
Mm.
I think one is remaining.
Well, and ra and zay and zal and del. Uh,
One is remaining. Okay, that is alif.
mm.
Okay, whenever alif
Okay.
comes in the beginning of any word, so after any letter comes, always be separated. Okay, so the same lesson will be covered on the three pages. Okay, one, two, three. All the letters you can teach your students whenever the ghain comes in the beginning of any word, so it will look like that. When the ghain will come in the middle, and when the ghain will come in the ending, so it will look like that. Okay, so one by one you can tell your student every letter. Now When you finish, so then you can start your next lesson. So what do you think, can we start the new lesson or not? If you want
Uh,
to do practice, so then we can stop here, otherwise we start our lesson number 3.
if I test him and if he memorize everything, we will begin in the next lesson.
Okay, so should we stop here or we can start the lesson number 3?
I don't know.
What do you think? I am asking that if you are understanding each and everything, and after that you can again look the video, and you can do practice. So then we will cover the lesson number 3 as well, because this is the last lesson about the letters. After that we will talk about the signs. So I think we will cover this lesson as well. After that, I will give you 1 day to practice, and then you can teach me the 3 lessons.
Okay.
Okay, because after that we don't talk about the letters, because when we finish this lesson, so our student will know about the letters name and their sounds and their shapes and their full shape of the letter, half shape of the letter, when the letter comes in the beginning, ending, middle, each and everything the student will know now after the lesson number 3. So when we start the lesson number 4, so we just talk about the signs. Okay. So I
Hmm.
will
Okay.
continuing the lesson number 3. If you want to don't understand anything, so you can again watch the
Uh,
lesson video, and also you can ask any type of question on my WhatsApp if you have. So
uh,
here we will.
uh, uh,
Yes.
the sound of the letters. The sound of ha. You told me it says chocolate or what?
Yeah, the sound of ha is a breath voice.
Right?
Okay, the
Uh,
ha. This is the sound of
uh,
ha. The other is ha.
can you
Ha.
write it
Okay.
right?
See, if we want to teach our students, so we can tell them H and A. This is ha, this letter ha. And when we talk about the sound of ha, so we just write the letter H. So it will look like. Similarly, if we talk about ba, so B and A, this is the spelling of ba. But when we talk about the sound of ba, so it is b, just the B. Okay, and the other one is ha, which look like that. This is the chest voice. Okay, the sound of this letter we will pronounce like a heavy, and we will pronounce with our chest like ha. Got it?
The sound of scene whistle.
Yeah, the sound, a whistle sound like. Okay, whistle sound. So whistle sound is s.
Okay.
Okay, now we are starting our new lesson. This is lesson number 3. Again, you have to give some brief information about this lesson. As you can tell your student, so far we will learn about the half shape of the lesson, full shape of the lesson, beginning of the letter, ending of the letter, middle of the letter. Now we will discuss when the letters, 2 letters or more than 2 letters will be connected each together. So how it will look like. So first of all, you can start from here, and as you know, the student will know very well about this letter, and he can tell you this is Alif. But when you go for the next lesson letter, so in this we have 2 letters. We will call it word. Okay, in this word we have 2 letters. So first of all, you can ask your student which letters are they. So if he will tell you, so that is very good. But mostly students will be confused because both are the straight lines. Okay, as I told you on your lesson number 2, that student always were confused in the half shape of lam and the full shape of alif because both are the straight line. Am I right?
right.
So the student will confuse which one is alif and which one is lam. So here we also have two straight lines. So mostly student will be confused that which one is lam and which one is alif. So here we have a one tip for our students, and we can tell them how can we find which one is alif and which one is lam. So if you tell your students this tip, so they can always find very easily, because the lam alif we have very various type of condition, various type of uh, letters comes in the lam and alif. Some here we have lam alif, sometimes it will look like that, sometimes lam alif look like that, sometimes it will look like that. Okay, so if we want to tell our students as such type of condition or tip, so that our student will always find out the lam and alif easily. Either there we have two types of lam alif or 100 type of lam alif connected to each other. So that tip is, you can tell your student that the alif and lam has one condition, and that is alif always, whenever alif comes in the beginning of any word, so it will always written separately with the second letter. So whenever you see if there is a straight line in the beginning of any word, so you can check it, either it will connect it to the next letter or not. If it is connected, so that's mean that will be lam, because alif will never connect after any letter. And if it is not connected, then we will call it alif. So this is the tip which we will give our students. So they always check that straight line is connected to the next letter or not. And if it is connected, then we will call it lam. And if it is not connected, then we will call it alif. Understood?
Yes.
So similarly here, see, here we have a one straight line. So how can we call either it is alif or lam? So if we know that condition, so we can check. So yes, the straight line is connected to the ba. So that's why we will call this is lam. Otherwise, it will be a alif, right?
Okay.
So this kind of tips you will give your students for your every letter, like lam and alif. I told you, for example, about the kaf. Sometimes we have a curve with one sliding line on the top. Sometimes we have a icon, small icon on the top of the lam shape. So we will call it calf. Okay, so this kind of differentiate you have to tell your student. So whenever you see the shape look like a lam, but it has a small icon on the top, so then we will call it calf. Otherwise, it will be a lam. Understood? So
Yes.
similarly, this kind of differentiate you have to tell your students each and every letter. About the dots, they already know if there is a three dots on the top, so we will call it sa. But if there is no dot, then we will call it lam, like here. Because the first straight line we will consider, and that is the first letter, and after that there is a ha which is connected. So that's why we will call it lam. Otherwise, if it is not connected, then we will call it alif. So this kind of some tips you have to give your students. And here we have the second letter with a second page with the same lesson. You can give your students each and every tips which you know, which you think that when you say your student this kind of tips, so it will be uh, easiest way for the student. But see, here we have one question that in this, can you tell me what is that? Both letters. Tell me the name of both letters.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
both are
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, both are the yeah. But I have a question that first yeah has a two dots in the bottom. As we discussed that whenever we have a two dots in the bottom, so we will call it yeah, right?
Right.
But the second yeah doesn't have a dot. Can you tell me the reason? Why there is no
uh,
dots on the second yeah?
at the end of the word and pronounced as alif or what?
No, no.
Because it's at the end of the word.
But we have most very much words we have which have a ya in the ending, but it has a dots. But here we don't have a dot.
Mm,
So, Sumaya, it is a question, a task for you because you are from Arabic country and your native language is Arabic. So it is a task for you. You can find out the reason why sometimes the ya doesn't have a dot in the bottom and sometimes it will contain the dots in the bottom. Okay. Okay,
yeah.
so on the
Okay.
next session, I will ask again, and you can tell me about that reason why the ya having a dot sometime and sometime not.
Uh, I started when it's alif layina or yeah, or when we pronounce it as alif, it's not has in it.
No, but here there is no any alif, no any fatha.
Mm,
But what the reason
okay,
is here?
I'll
Okay, you can ask anybody, and you can tell me what was the reason. Because you can see in Quran there are many words where the ya is the last letter, but it has a dots. So what the reason is? Okay, so you can find out and then you can tell me on your
okay.
next session. Now as I told you, you can start and you tell every each and every letter's shape and when they connected each other, so how it will look like. For example, the round ta are having a two or three types, like this one is also the round ta. Okay, and the ha has
Okay.
many types, like ha, this is the first shape of ha, this is the second shape of ha, and when ha comes in the middle, so it will look like that or that. Okay, so
Okay.
this all kind of the shapes you have to tell your students and then you go for the next, and all the three pages having the same lesson. When you finish this lesson, so here our letters discussion will be finished. So make sure when you finish this lesson means page number 10, so your student will know all the things about the letters. Okay, they should know letters shape, letters name, letters sound, letters identifications, letters full shape and a half shape, and beginning, middle, and end shape. All the things, okay, about the letters.
Okay.
So, inshallah ta'ala, in the next tomorrow, we will start from the lesson number 4, which is
Le-
about the
for-
fatha.
mm,
Okay,
okay.
so you can, I will give you the link about this lesson, so you can watch it again if you want. Okay, so inshallah ta'ala, we will continue again from here in our next class. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Yeah.